The views expressed on this episode, as with all episodes of We Hate Your Baby Daddy, are based solely on our personal opinions and shit we heard in the streets.
The content here should not be taken as indisputable fact. This show is for entertainment purposes only, so enjoy and don't come for us.
Welcome back to We Hate Your Baby Daddy, the podcast where we spend 20 minutes to an hour just absolutely hating on these fucking men. And guess what? Dee's back! Yay!
Hi, guys. Back from my leave of absence. I've been sick and going through the trenches. I,
Just sailing through the trenches.
Not really sailing, more like crawling with my hands tied behind my back, but we're
Good
back. We're back.
Lord. So today we have two wild baby daddy stories that we want to read. We have this one here. This guy needs a nickname. I mean, honestly, I'm just the first thing that's coming to me is just broke bitch because that's what I'm getting from this. Let me read it. Let me read it. So the title is My Husband Always Thinks He's Going the Extra Mile. He isn't. We're barely breaking even most months. This month we have two of our children's birthdays and at least $800 in car repairs slash expenses. The car stuff can't wait. I'm already sourcing secondhand items for some of the birthday gifts and planning a joint birthday party for the boys with only three friends each. I don't actually have a problem with the secondhand strategy. I'm just saying that I'm trying really hard to provide great birthdays for a small amount of money. He said he's willing to work as much overtime as we need to cover the extra expenses. I think, great, he's stepping up. LOL. I've run the numbers, and we would need him to put in 10 extra hours a week this month above his usual 35, 40 in order to break even. He tells me he starts to come apart at the seams if he does an extra 5 hours a week. Plus, when he volunteered the overtime, it was on the condition that half the extra money, or half the extra quote unquote money, is for him to spend on himself as incentive. I guess his family isn't incentive enough. So he's willing to do an extra 5 hours if he can spend half on himself. Before we had kids, I worked 60 hours a week for several years to help put him through school. He seriously can't manage 45 to 50 for a month. Also, I know being the breadwinner can be stressful. I've been there. But his life currently involves sleeping in 1 to 3 hours later than me every day, multiple naps a week, hobbies, trips to the gym, weekly socializing. Believe me, he's getting many breaks. I get 1 or 2 half-hour breaks a week with no time for friends or hobbies. I barely manage to shower regularly. Anyway, end rant.
That's depressing as hell.
That's financial abuse.
Indeed, it is, especially because he like flipped the script on her because she worked 60 hours to put his ass through school, basically, probably with the intention and the promise by him that, oh, once I get this job and get my degree or whatever, I'll take care of everyone. And that's not what he's doing. And not only that,
Mhm.
but he's going to bonus of the overtime to do it for himself. Like, you don't even care about your kids' birthdays.
That's insane to me because it's like if I had quote unquote extra money, that's going to my kid. If I'm not spending it on something for her, then I'm just gonna save it and be like, well, maybe this can be like a gift for the future or like food or something. I don't know. It's like the only thing that I think about is her needs. And so I just can't understand being a man like this and being like, well, those broke little kids need to get a job because this is my money. Like, what?
I also don't like the implication where he says that he's going to come apart at the seams because what are you implying by that? What are you implying that you're going to come apart by the seams by
That's a
saying that you
good
need to work more?
point.
That's scary. What do you
Are you,
mean?
is like a mental break or are you gonna just start flipping out and start wailing on them? Like, I don't understand. And some of the comments, let's see. I really don't understand why someone would think the overtime or bonus should go to them personally at all. I had an ex like that, would only work overtime if he got to spend it, so he's an ex now. And this person says, so he's willing to work extra to pay for the quote unquote extra expenses, but only if he gets to keep all the money from working overtime instead of paying the extra expenses. That's worse than mine that tries to spend the same money more than once. Like, say we get a bonus, $100 from something, like a random government check. He wants to spend $100 on takeout and $100 on a thing for him and 100 on me. That math ain't nothing. That's boy math.
I thought men were better at math. When does
I,
100 equal 300?
I thought men were supposed to be like logical and just like, they're in STEM. Like, clearly. We have another one here. Dee, do you want to read this one?
Sure. No, you literally cannot watch the child while doing something else. This pattern drives me nuts. I asked my husband to play with our daughter so I can get something done. She is super demanding of attention and destructive if ignored, so I cannot get much done when she's awake. He says, okay, no problem. Every single time, he eventually wanders off because he just needs to do something real quick. Haven't we all heard that? Yeah. The kid then interrupts me every 5 seconds. All he does is say, leave your mother alone, with increasing annoyance. Usually gets to the point where she's sobbing from being scolded and or wanting attention. My chore never gets done. Meanwhile, he's off finishing off his task while I'm comforting her. Then, when I confront him about it, he's like, but I was watching her. And, well, I don't have any problem getting my chores done. You just need to be more firm with her. Yeah, you don't have any problems because you prioritize everything else over her. And then you wonder why she doesn't want to spend time with you. The end.
Oh my God. He just wanders off. Like, how do you just wander off? Like, I wonder how old the kid is because, I mean, I have also witnessed this from Junkie Crashy. Like, put her in like a walker thing, and then like he's doing something else, and I'm like, you can't just put her in the walker and then walk away. She's gonna walk around and like grab stuff and like get mad because it got stuck on something. I'm like, you have to actively like be engaged.
They don't understand that. They really think that like kids are just like inanimate objects. Like if I place this and this, it'll just stay there. Like, no, it's not a newborn. And even newborns need to be watched 24/7.
Exactly. I cannot, again, with the mindset of men, like I can't relate. I can't understand these baby
What are the
daddies and
comments
I hate
on this
them.
one?
I think it's time for him to solo parent for a weekend. I
That's
wouldn't.
scary though.
Girl, she'll come back
Because
and
that's the
she's
thing.
like,
Like you want to tell them, okay, just take the kid for a weekend, but then you're like, oh wait, he's a dumbass. My kid's gonna get hurt, so you can't even do that.
exactly. You'll come back and the kid's not there. And you're like, oh, where's our daughter? Who? Or what? And he's like playing video games.
What do you mean
So
I have to stay next to her while I give her a bath?
right. This comment says, it seems you need to be firmer with him. He actually doesn't even need to understand why you need this time on your own. Set clear boundaries around it because asking only is not working and you can't change him. Boundaries are great for that. Do you really think that if she was more firm with him, he's really gonna be like, okay.
I can already see this not playing out well with everybody involved because at the end there, the child is already starting to resent him. Like she doesn't even want to spend time with him now because like he
Hmm.
treats her like an annoyance more than his daughter. So now, like, even if they were to spend time together and mom's not even in the picture, like, the daughter would probably be like, I'm getting the worst vibes from this dude.
Right. Her reply to the comment, she says, I agree. I thought I was being super clear last night by asking him to play with her instead of watch her. But he didn't even last 5 minutes before he wandered off. I asked him repeatedly to please play with her. And he was just like, I got it. Just doing something real quick. Kid, leave your mom alone. I tried to not fight with him in front of our kid, but I chewed him out after she was in bed.
And kids sense that. Like, they sense that
Hmm.
tension. They're not stupid. And they, like, get that sense of guilt, too. Like, oh my God, mom and dad are mad because I'm being a baby and I don't understand.
Right. And like I've also had a similar conversation with Drunky Crashy about that, where I'm like, play with her because he'll be like laying in her little playpen thing with her, and she's just like, she's trying to get out to get to me, and I'm like finishing up work or like doing something. And I'm like, bro, all these stuffed animals, I'm like, pick them up, make them dance around, do the funny voices. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean? What do I mean? Do the fucking funny voices. It's not rocket science to play with a baby. You do anything and she will laugh because she's the happiest baby ever.
Well, it is rocket science, knowing of him personally. It is rocket science for that man. He's probably like, I don't know how to do it, holding a like stuffed animal upside down in front of her.
I'm so dead. He's just like, it's
That's
too
kind of like mine
complex.
too. PCS is just like, well, you never let me talk to her. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm at work right now. Why don't you just call where she's being babysat and just talk to her? She's 3. She can hold a conversation. She calls me. Like, what are you talking about? Just talk to her.
And see, that's a man that be coming apart at the seams. That one right
He is AWOL. Like, I have no
there.
idea where he is. He might
No
be
way. For
dead.
how long?
I don't know. It's been a couple months now. I think he's dead.
Bro, months?
I want to say like 2. Yeah, I haven't heard a
Oh
word.
my God. Well, RIP, like
I mean, can the dead truly die?
what is dead will never truly die. What's that quote from fucking Game of Thrones?
Fucking Game of Thrones. I mean, yeah, he's pretty similar to it. He's like a lich.
All right, let's get into the episode.
Today, we're going to talk about a baby daddy who used to be an actor, I think, and now, again, I think he just has kids for a living.
That's right. Today, we're going to talk about a professional baby daddy, Nick Cannon. In my opinion, what makes him a professional baby daddy is the fact that he was like slowly fading into obscurity until it came out that he was having a whole bunch of kids. Now he's like shucking and jiving on Instagram and Jimmy Fallon, cracking jokes about what a prolific fucking deadbeat he is. Like, it's funny.
That's actually pathetic. You know what? Oh my God. Actor. Didn't he make music at one point too?
I couldn't really remember. I remember I was trying to sit there and think, like, what did Nick Cannon do? I know he was in a bunch of like teen like romance comedies. I think he was in Roll Bounce. And
Which he had no
then
right to be.
no, he definitely did not. And then I'm like, well, did he do music? I know he did Wild and Out, but I'm like, that is not the funniest show I've ever seen. I'm surprised it's even still on TV. Like, it's not that funny.
I just saw like a meme that said name 5 Nick Cannon songs or die, and like it was like a man on the ground crying, and I was like, damn, that would be me.
I can't name one. I don't really even know what he does. No, he has kids for a living. And it's different because it's like, Kevin Federline, I would also describe him as a professional baby daddy in a different way, in that he gets the child support and lives off of that. But I I don't know if Nick Cannon is he benefiting financially besides the fact that there's more like spotlight on his career? I don't know. Maybe he's gonna start putting the kids in like dance lessons and he's gonna Jackson 5 them. Like,
Oh
I don't
God,
know.
don't say that. Don't do that to them.
He's like planning something. Like, he's making an army.
Mm, that's not
L-
good.
Like, when I was researching this episode, I kid you not, I lost count of the amount of kids. Like,
It's a really,
here,
and he has so many baby mamas. It's really hard to keep track. They're out of it though. Good for
right,
them.
and some of them, they're retreads. No, that's a really mean way to say it. Some of them he spun the block, and it's like, okay, I'm having a kid with this one, and then this one, and then I'm gonna go back to the other one. It's like it's weird.
He literally has concubines.
He does. It's modern day concubines.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the timeline of Nick Cannon's victims, if you could call them that, but we mean his kids and his baby mamas. So, Nick Cannon's first rounds of kids were born on April 30th, 2011. know Mariah Carey is the mother of his twins, Moroccan Scott and Monroe. Normal names for pretty normal kids to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Second, on February 22nd, 2017, a model named Brittany Bell gave birth to Nick's second son and third child, Golden Sagon? Or is that Saigon?
I thought it might have been Sagan or maybe Sagan.
Is that a word?
No,
Moving on.
when I was researching it, I just honestly I didn't even stop to think about what the pronunciations would even be.
That sounds like a Pan-Asian food store.
Not to be mean, but I feel like I probably thought more about Golden Sagan than Nick Cannon has. So it's like
Yeah,
he
you
could have
put
named her
more thought into
anything.
that for sure. Oh, geez, look at the next one. Their daughter,
I'm
powerful
sorry.
Queen Cannon, was born 3 years later on December 23rd, 2020. And that sounds like a weapon made in England. Next, on June 14th, 2021, Nick had another set of twins with Abby De La Rosa, who is a DJ or radio personality or both. We're not quite sure. I mean, they're not really careers or jobs, so they can be either or. They had twins named Zion Myoxlidian. That sounds like
Star Wars.
no, it sounds like an antibiotic.
No, it really does. Mixel Mixolydian.
And Zillion Air. Zillion, yeah, I thought it was Xylon, but that's Zillion Air.
Yeah, Zillion, and the middle name is Heir, Air. And apparently all of these kids' names do have meanings, and that's great, but let's not get into them. When I was researching again, I was like, the research was like, oh, speculating on what the kids' names meant if he had publicly said. And I was like, I'm just not even gonna include it because who cares? It's weird.
Honestly, I have more respect for Musk in this regard because Musk was just being an edge lord, trying too
Hmm.
hard.
Exactly. And this is just giving hotep.
It is, but can he really give hotep? Like, are any of these women truly and fully black?
That's the thing, he's always wearing the little turban, going on interviews, talking about hotep shit. But then it's like, I think one of them is black, maybe the DJ one, maybe. Hold on. Okay, yeah, she does seem like she could be black.
That's not definitive.
It's really not.
See, I don't. She's, you know how, like, okay, this is more to, like, I guess our ethnic guess, but you know how, like, you see, like, kind of like a light skinned black woman, and you're like, all right, that's a sister. Or you see, like, a light skinned black woman that makes you go, hmm.
Hmm.
She's the second option.
I agree. And also the name De La Rosa, it's not giving Negro. So,
I mean, it could give, uh, I'm Dominican, but I don't know.
I don't, there's just no confirmation. But knowing Nick Cannon, there's just there's no way that she is. Let's just be for real. And Brie Tiesi, I think, I mean, we'll get through in a second, but she's like the whitest of them, and she has had so much work done. Like, if you have you ever looked at like Brie Tiesi before and after?
Let me go do that.
She changed her
Oh my
ethnicity.
God.
This isn't even what she looks like now. She looks like this now. Okay, so if you're listening, please Google BTSE before and after so you can see what we're referring to.
We always have to cross reference while we're recording because, like,
We
it's kind
have
of
to, yeah.
in our minds.
I'll make sure to make a post on Instagram so people
Yeah, so
can
you can,
just
like, go
see.
back and go like, oh my God, that's exactly what they were talking about.
Yeah. Um, okay, so moving on.
So,
The next victim, next set of victims.
in the same month and year as the previous set of kids, Nick had a son named Zen Scott with a model named Alyssa Scott. Their son tragically passed away after 5 months from brain cancer. Oh, RIP. Legendary Love is the name of the baby girl that Nick had with Brie Tiesi, who is a member of the Selling Sunset cast. Wow.
I don't know if you watch that show, but I have watched every single episode, and then I saw that they actually just dropped the newest season of it. And it's like for the first time, I'm just like, I do not give a shit. Like I don't I might maybe one day just like turn it on when I have nothing better to do, but like at this point in time, I'm just not interested. Last season was whack. Brie Tiasi was whack. Everything's so fake and they've changed. Like if you another thing to Google, like
Oh
the
yeah, I
Selling
think I
Sunset.
saw like I don't know. I don't know. I think you were talking about it. Somebody brought it up and they were basically like it's impossible to keep track of who's who because they constantly get surgery. I would
Right,
be
right.
plot. I'd
And
be like, who is that?
if you look at pictures from like season one of the show to season like the current one, I mean, they've all just completely transformed. Like the outfits are insane, the plastic surgery is insane. Like it's so hard to watch now.
It's crazy because none of it's for the better.
No, it's really not. Like they used to look like normal humans, especially Chriselle. This one, like she looked like a person.
Yeah, she was actually kind of pretty. I mean, like neither of us are afraid or look down on a little nip tuck, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to see like the goal of what they were going for here. They kind of look like the
Right.
bimbo meme, but if like
Right.
you try to draw it from memory.
Yeah, like I'm not talking shit about plastic surgery. Like I love plastic surgery, as you know. But like they just it's too extreme. And I know that's like the LA kind of thing, the style, but they are just doing too much.
And honestly, this and their outfits are kind of given like Fashion Nova.
A lot of the time, yeah. And even the higher end stuff, it still does give that. Like it's just you're doing too much. Like just wear fucking normal clothing. Back to the timeline.
In 2022 is where he really started to get carried away. Five different kids that year with five different women. That is disgusting. None of them are
Hmm.
twins. He had Legendary Love, Onyx Ice Cold, Rise Messiah, Beautiful Zeppelin,
Hmm.
and Halo Marie, all within a few months of each other. For some odd reason, there was a period of time where being pregnant by Nick Cannon was like owning a Birkin bag in LA. Ew.
Right, because it's like if you're a model in LA and you don't have a Birkin bag, it's like, oh, are you really an LA model? And it was the same thing with being pregnant by Nick Cannon. Like having sexy unprotectees with Nick Cannon was the thing everyone was doing in 2022 out there.
How did you get the energy? Doesn't that dude have lupus? I have an autoimmune disease, so like when it hits
That's
me
a good
hard, it hits me
point.
hard. I can't even like want to lift my eyeballs. How did this dude energy to get up and impregnate these women? That's foul.
And it's like him getting around and doing all that. It's like he has other kids. And so you see how I've lost track. I want to say what that was 9, 10, 11. Like I have no idea actually what number of kids he's on right now. That and these are just the ones that we know of. Like because
Is it
I have
nine
heard
now? Hold
I
on.
don't know.
Because like I
I
know one passed, RIP.
yeah. I have heard that one of the models he was banging like did get pregnant but had a miscarriage and I don't think they tried again. But then I'm like if you think about he's probably been having plenty of unprotected sex with others who just didn't get pregnant.
He's up to 12.
Right, like 12? And I just don't understand the appeal because I heard that he doesn't even pay child support and I haven't seen that he's done anything to like elevate the careers of these women. And him and Brie Tiasi will make little fucking TikToks or reels or whatever, like just cracking jokes about how he never has time for the kids. And like, how's it's not funny.
I mean, there's several things that I find about Nick Cannon that I think is extremely irresponsible about him. One is that he has a severe and like uncontrolled autoimmune disease. He has like lupus and it's really bad despite his money. And knowing that he has lupus and knowing that you have an autoimmune disease and you're just like popping out kids willy-nilly, knowing that they could contract one or multiple autoimmune disease as they get older is pretty cruel, in my opinion.
I agree. It's like you have this condition and it's a blessing that actually we don't even know if any of them have it. I mean, or are carriers or what. Like I
It
just
takes a
don't
while for it to kick in.
I think he's just very on his hotep shit and is like, well, I don't care. The Bible says to like read and like multiply or whatever the fuck. And that's all he's focused on. And it's so disgusting. It's impossible for him to be able to maintain healthy, present relationships with every single one of those kids. 12 kids?
Yeah, like even um like those super fundamentalist Christians, they admit that they can't even be present for their kids and they're home all of the time
Right,
with all 12 kids
exactly.
under the same roof, and the kids complain, they're like, well, we never got attention and we got raised by the older ones because there was just not enough time in the day to take care of 12 kids presently.
Right, the whole Duggar family, like the older ones, have come out and just been like, this was hell. And some of the younger ones have said, the way they survived was having a buddy system with, with the kids. Like they had buddy pairs and pods,
That
they called them or something.
sucks.
Right. I remember I was reading this breakdown of it, and it's like you had an older girl, because of course, misogyny, the girl has to be in charge of the pod, who would take care of everything like changing diapers and making sure they brush the teeth and stuff. It's like, yeah, kids are a lot of work. So to make 12 of them, and I mean, I'm sure there's weeks, maybe even months that goes by where he doesn't see all of them in that time frame. Like, it's just really fucking irresponsible.
Yeah, no, that's super irresponsible. And I mean, it just shows how much of a narcissist he is and how ego driven this whole thing is. And honestly, I don't really appreciate calling these women's victims. Like, they're really just clout chasers, and they're dumb clout
Good
chasers too,
point.
because they're not even doing it for like a benefit. Like, I respect clout chasers where they're like sitting on a bag after they clout chase and they're just like, well, you
Right.
can't tell me anything. Yeah, I made a fool of myself, but I just bought a mansion. What did you do? All
Right.
they have are like vibes and are crossing their fingers after an STD test. That's
Oh,
it.
good God. That's so disgusting. And I remember on an episode of the last season of Selling Sunset, Brie Tiasi even was like they she said like they were out, like some of the girls from the show, and she looked at her phone, she got a fucking TMZ report saying that like one of the women just gave birth to Nick Cannon's kid. She's like, I didn't even know that another one was pregnant. Like, ew,
You're
ew.
sharing liquids with basically all of LA and probably some of New York because he goes like bi coastal, doesn't he?
I think he does. And he also tells them like they can't date because he's like, if they that man who's in their life, he can pay for everything. Like he's like, I'm not gonna help out, with his own kids if the mom starts dating.
But what money does Nick Cannon have? Like, he does this, but like, is Nick Cannon really like a big shot?
I don't think he pays child support like at all. I think he's the kind of baby daddy that if you need money for school clothes or something, you have to give him some pussy and then he'll give you like, some change to go like buy some clothes. Like there's no way he's giving them any kind of consistent income, especially if he's not currently able to have access to like the baby mama pussy.
And girlies, don't ever fall into that trap. I know, like, oh, but I loves him. Don't do that shit. Don't, please don't make it harder for us. Go to court, or at least like set up a system where he does pay a certain amount at a certain time with a record, so you can get
Mhm.
your kids fed and you can provide a house and stable income for them, because it's really fucked up to not even have to
Exactly.
ask a dude to do their minimum. Like, I think you showed me that thing of that lady that was like, oh, his wife said he can't buy new shoes for the kids, and I'm like, she can't what? She said what?
Right, the $500, like, because the dude was married, the baby daddy, he was married. His baby mama was like, we need money for the kids' school shoes. And the wife is like, you already give her $500 a month in child support. Like, she can just take it out of that. And I was like, what kind of math is that? $500? What are you gonna do with that?
I don't know about you, but I know several men that actually are men would probably, I don't know, straight cuss a woman out if she ever questioned me about A, my money that I made for my children, and B, how I'm going to spend it on my children. Because who the fuck are you?
It's like she, as his wife, yeah, because they probably share finances, she should know how much is going out and like be able to plan, whatever. But telling him, yeah, you already give $500 a month, so you cannot give more. That's completely unacceptable. That's a child. That's
Go to
his
court.
child.
Go to court. Stop doing this. Hey, fellas. Hey, ladies. Bullshit on Instagram. Go to court. Put it in writing so you don't have to
Right.
do this.
Yeah,
This
why
is so
did he? We have
easy.
to, we're gonna have to post that video too. Why did he make a video? Hey guys, quick question. Just wanted to know what your opinion is. My wife won't let me do, like, why are you asking us? We're just gonna clown you.
Do not ask the audience anything about what's going on in your home. We're going to clown you.
We're just gonna boo you. And that's what we did.
Oh.
I wanted to ask you, G, you had to be any one of Nick Cannon's baby mamas. Which one would you be and why?
um, I think it's obvious that would be Mariah Carey.
Same. Because she doesn't
Man,
have to be a part of any of that shit. She got it out of the way. And they were
I don't
married.
know her. That's
Hmm.
Mariah Carey's
All
singular
right.
line, and she's gonna do that with the rest of her life. I don't know her. I don't know him. The end. And nobody
Wait,
ever brings Mariah in this shit. Anytime he has another kid, does anybody bring Mariah up? No, because they know not to bring up Mariah.
rarely, like occasionally, you will see someone say, well, you know what? Thank God, like Mariah Carey is uninvolved, and she doesn't publicly comment on it. And I don't think people even ask her. Like, if you see her doing interviews, I mean, maybe, but I haven't seen anybody ask her because, I would be afraid to ask her.
I think
She's
they know
she's
better.
scary a
Mariah
little bit.
Carey has a mouth on her.
Hmm. She's
Like she's a
scary,
songbird,
scary.
but she has a mouth on her. She'll hurt your feelings. I mean, like I remember when she first got divorced from him, and people were like, "Oh my God, Mariah Carey's gonna die alone." And then fast forward to now, and I was like, "Wow, Mariah Carey really dodged a bullet." And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
think the actual talented woman who's like a household name dodged a bullet of the dude that wears turbans and is in the hot of the day? Yeah, I think so.
Not the turbans. Um, how
Those are beauty
would
supply store turbans. They're not even like custom made.
Yeah, they're not. They're just like literally the kind that you go to the beauty supply store, you go to the bonnet section. He probably looked around, he was like, "What looks ethnic?"
Those are African grandma turbans.
They are. He's such a fucking poser. How would we rate him as a baby daddy?
I would say I would rate him a 4 out of 5 on the danger and disgusting scale. I took a point off because after Mariah, a lot of these women are willing participants. Like they're dumbasses. I'm sorry. Like we hate baby daddies, but I hate dumb hoes too. Sorry.
That's a good point. And I think, some of them are pretty young as far as like being in their like earlier or maybe mid 20s when he got his claws into them. So it's like you can kind of excuse some of them for like, the foolishness of youth, but not really.
No, no, you can't. And it's
But I
Nick
would agree with
Cannon,
that
so it's not
rating.
like it's somebody. I mean, you gotta like break it down too. Like, is he attractive? No. Is he
No,
talented? No.
no,
Does he own a lot of money? No. Does he own any
no.
companies? Barely.
Mm.
So how tricked are you? You already had a career yourself, model or something. So you were already at like 3 steps ahead of the dude.
Yeah, he's just like this fading, again, we don't know what he does, fading Hollywood person, was fading into obscurity, probably still living off like roll bounce checks.
Actually, I'm gonna
Eh,
look up Nick Cannon
net worth.
songs. See, no, his songs, because
Oh,
I know
so
that he did make music. Okay. Okay. Jesus Christ. Look at the names. All right. So his top songs are Gigolo, Feeling
never heard
Freaky,
it.
Your Pops Don't Like Me, Get Crunk Shorty.
Ew.
Shorty, which may be like I don't know if that's like a sequel or something to that.
And look at the years when these came out. Like it has been quite some time.
I love that Dance Floor is included in this, and it's not even in an album. It's included in the album White People
White
Party.
people party music?
And look
What
at this.
is
Parents
that?
Just Don't Understand was included in the Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius soundtrack in
Good
2001.
Lord. This is so cringe. Dime Piece, which came out in 2006. It's like he's so fake. These are phrases. It's like a mix up of just popular buzzwords that Black people were using in the like early aughts, you know, like
He heard a black guy saying this walking by him. Oh, he's from
get
San
crunk, shorty.
Diego. That makes a lot of sense.
Oh, okay. I didn't even
That's not
know.
even
But
the
yeah.
Bay Area. There's not even
Mm-hmm.
like, is it? Is there a bay in that area? Yeah.
In my personal opinion, like I don't know Nicholas Scott Cannon.
Oh, wait a minute. Look, he's also a host of several things, several important and groundbreaking shows, such as The Masked Singer, Lip Sync Battle Shorties,
Um,
America's Got Talent, Wild and Out, which I guess we all know, and of course, The Nick Cannon Show.
oh yeah, wasn't that a show like in the late 90s or something?
What was Lip Sync Battle Shorties, and why?
I am very curious to know what Lip Sync Battle Shorties was.
It was hosted by Nick Cannon and JoJo Siwa.
Oh, that's all we needed to know.
Ratings.
It was about kids, so the kids were the shorties, and they were battling each other in rap. I'm
Okay,
so glad I
yeah.
never saw
Does he
that.
know what a shorty is?
I think he just says whatever. Like he's like, Black people say this. That's what he's made his whole personality out of. Black people said get crunk shorty and dime piece. So now I say it because I'm a Black person.
If you go on his Wikipedia page and you go to his partners, the ones that, ironically, the baby mamas that we talked about, they do not have blue names, to say the least. But the ones that do, that you can click on, they all look alike. It's creepy.
Right, they do.
Except for Mariah. She was like, Mariah, you got out, baby. Good for you.
Good for you. Um, so I was gonna say I don't know Nicholas Scott Cannon personally, but as a baby daddy, I hate him. We hate him. We hate you, Nick Cannon. It's not sorry.
I hate him too.
I hope that he stubs his toe for as many times to represent the amount of kids he has. So what, like 12 times a day, every day for the rest of his life.
That might actually kill him. He's sickly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even joking. Like, I think
Yeah,
he
you're
just was
right.
hospitalized for like kidney failure.
That's right. I forgot about that.
You're gonna send that man straight to hell.
Well, I hope he enjoys the ride down there.
It's gonna be an
And
express bus ambulance.
and that's our show. Make sure to listen next week and also feel free to suggest some famous and historical baby daddies for us to roast. You should also write to us or click the link in the show description to send us a voice note that we can play on the show. We want to hear all about these losers and weirdos.
That's right. So follow us on Instagram and TikTok at WHY Baby Daddy Pod and leave us a review. You can leave us a review on Spotify, Apple, or whatever you get your podcasts. And if you don't feel like typing out a long ass review, you can just click the 5 stars and we'll know that you love us. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.
Bye.